Hey there, it's Raven Scry here today with another reading. This one's offered by Jinesh, and he's requested dot, Pyth, and internet computer. So before we start, this is not financial advice. You've always got to follow your own heart, your own intuition before investing. And I know you guys are sick of me saying that, but it's so important that you follow your own heart and guidance, because things can change, things cannot be how they've come through. There can be many variables here. So I'm offering these from my heart, but certainly do your own research and your own tuning in before investing. So if you'd like one of these readings, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me via the About page of the channel and the email address from there. Enjoy this one. Okay, so the first coin that you've selected is DOT. Okay, so as I connect to DOT's energy, I feel, a big presence, large presence in the space. As we know, it's a very big crypto, and it certainly appears to be like that. Now, it's interesting because as they show me the energy, it's very open, very round, and there's a lot going on inside it, is what they're showing. And it's like people gathered at tables, all working. Now, this could be very metaphorical, but the way that Spirit shows this information is how things are supposed to come through. So just kind of stay with the scene. There's these people, they're all at tables, all working, bustling. There's large networks, there's large teams here. There's quite a large community, I want to say. And it's like there's this sense of really working towards something. And in the way the energy feels, it's like it's not yet been seen, or, it's like you're working toward a larger goal, but you don't see the results until later on. So there is this sense of all of this work being put in, but it's like it's not yet being seen for how much work that's going on behind the scenes and within the project, that's not really been reflected externally, or perhaps in the price, I could say. So I'm going to ask Spirit now, now that we've kind of connected to that energy, what they have to share about DOT. And they're saying success for this one. And I got a double success with this one. Interestingly enough, there was like a mirror of that word. Now, they're talking about limited success for a time, though. It's almost like there is some level of drawn out process going on. It's like it's moving along sideways in this way that they show it. Now, they're not showing me when it's moving along sideways, but I'm kind of just giving it as I get it, and it just is like this kind of grind sideways, and I feel as though this is connecting in with what they're showing within this kind of scene of inside, with all these people working on things, this extension of this that moves across, and it's sort of meandering sideways. And I ask Spirit, help me to understand this, and what else can you offer around this? It's like it's taking its time, and it's taking its time to pick up, but I know this of the market, like DOT hasn't been performing greatly in comparison to some of the other ones, but they're certainly bringing that to the forefront. But I'm going to ask, as we move into 2024, further along, and into 2025, is there anything that they can offer in regards to the trajectory, or anything else they wish to share around the project DOT? They're talking about some sort of stagnation, but a stabilization as well. And I ask, help me to understand this. It's like there's like this stagnation, but it's stable. It's not seeing wild movements, is the way that they show it. And And I ask, okay, as we move into further into 2024, into 2025, I feel more resonance around 2025. It's like it needs some more time until you see some decent developments, some decent moves. And I do feel with this one to kind of move out further as well. Like, okay, we've got 2024, 2025, in the trajectory over the next few years. They're talking about it rising a great deal more. It's like it's got a slower burn in the way that the energy feels with this one. So it's like a constant grind to get there. And, I'm certainly not saying that it's not going to do some crazy moves and pumps, but there is this stability with it. There is this constance that's going on with it, things that aren't necessarily being reflected in price and are taking longer. But yes, I'm just going to ask anything else. One more thing, Spirit, can you share with me about DOT, the project DOT? Interesting. I'm getting Illuminati. Some sort of connections here. Some of these wordings, like I share a word like this in a reading, and sometimes they just get very taken out of perspective. But that's the word that came in. It's almost like it's got connections in places, and Spirit's pointing that out. But it's interesting because the energy doesn't really show that to me. The energy feels like it's quite trustworthy. It's going along its kind of trajectory. Everything's good. But there is some sort of weird reference to Illuminati that comes in later on. So make of that what you will. And I better move along with these readings because I've gone a bit over with DOT, but it's a bit interesting. So perhaps we'll have to revisit this at a later time. Okay, so now as I move along to the next project, that is Pyth Network, Pyth. Okay, so as I connect to Pyth, it's like they're showing me this contained energy. They're showing me in the way that the energy is, it's quite small, but it's like it's being encased. And, what comes to mind is almost like an energy of an egg. This whole themes of eggs at the moment, but it has this feeling of like holding an egg in your hand. And it's like, help me to understand this, Spirit, because it's keeping me very present in the moment here. And I need to understand a little bit more around what's being shown here with Pyth. There's an acceleration they're talking about, and there's also an electricity, and it's fast. There's a speed that it takes off at. So in some way it almost feels like it's sitting there quietly, and all the lights are turned off. It's darkness. Nothing's appearing to go on, and then there's like this speed, this taking off speed, and there's this lightning energy with it. It's like it comes out of nowhere. You wouldn't sort of expect it from how the energy is in one energy and in one example here to the other scene. It's like one scene to the other scene. It's very different, very opposite in ways. And I suppose, it's how a storm starts. If we have it seems all normal and fine, and then suddenly, boom, we have the lightning. It just comes out of nowhere. It's very striking and just appears when you least expect it. You can't really feel it. And I mean, okay, you could feel the storm coming in. So maybe if you're sensitive to it, but in terms of the way you would view it and the way that it comes through of how it moves and takes off in this way, it's not easy to see that it's coming, is the way that Spirit's giving it to me. So I'm just going to ask now what Spirit has to share around Pyth. Quick acceleration. And interestingly, they're showing me a bomb. And, with these bomb references, there can be many, many meanings, but in the way that it's being shown through this is like this reference to the wick, and again, lighting the wick. And so it's like once it's lit, countdown, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. It's like you don't have long. So if you light the wick and then walk off, you've got to make sure you get out of the way very quickly. So it's like there is this sense of pressure and time, and once the wick is lit, it's happening, and there's fast acceleration is what they're wanting to show and share here. I also feel as though there's high up energies with this one supporting it. It feels like it's got a lot of help pulling it up, is the way the energy feels. Okay, I'm going to move along now to Internet Computer, ICP. And as I connect to ICP's energy, they're referencing a distant shore. It's like over there, in the distance. And it's like, it's a beautiful day within how they're showing it. There's this blue sky and there's blue water, but it's over there. And it's almost like it's in the future. Something is in the future, not very tangible yet. It feels distant, feels away. And I ask Spirit, what have you got to share around ICP, Internet Computer? They show me kind of, it's like there's sort of troubles with it. It's like it's moving up. It's moving through and moving up, but then it's kind of staggering, the energy with it. And I ask, what more can you add here? They're not giving me a great sense here with it. It's like they show, as I said, they show me these movements, but there's a heaviness with it as well. And it's like it's in nowhere land. And as it moves along the trajectory, it's like it's taking me to that beach scene, and kind of feel a bit lost there. It's like almost a dream, or some sort of daydream that's not very tangible. I feel disorientated in that space with the way that they show it. So as I ask, okay, as we move along the timeline, further into 2024, into 2025, Internet Computer, what's the trajectory like? They talk about there's a solidity with it, but there's a limitation with it here as well. And it feels like, again, there's this element of structure that almost feel outdated, or they feel like they're not expanded enough. There's limitation. There's certain limitation to their structure is how it comes and what they can do. And so with that, they can only move so far. And, they can travel okay within that movement of this limitation, but it's constricted in some way. And again, I'm going to just say, okay, 2024, 2025, I don't see many extremes with it. I just kind of see this gentle kind of movement, upwards, sidewards, but not really extremes. And, this can be in comparison to the rest of the market too. It might do some fine moves, but in comparison to a lot of these other projects, and some of them just do crazy things, and the velocity of their energy behind them is so different. This one's just sort of there, running along the track and kind of doing its thing, moving along, but it just feels very in the mid-range, it feels very sidewards, and then it's not quite sort of getting there. It's like, in another way that it's being shown is like the infrastructure's there and it's moving along, but there's not enough people working on it, and it's reminding me of DOT in terms of this space where everyone was working on it. Everyone was at work, busy, but it wasn't being seen, whereas this one, there's this space going on with that, but there's not as many workers. It's kind of like a lot of people aren't there at work. They're not putting a lot of energy into this, is the way that this is being shown. It's like there's a lack. It's got a lack there, even though it may seem bigger in its energy, which it kind of does. It has a big resonance as well, but there's just a lack inside of it, is how it feels, and there is some sort of limitation here too in the way the energy is being shown. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed those readings. If you've got anything that came to mind, anything you'd like to share, please do so below in the comments. And also, if you would like one of these readings, please get in touch with me via the About page of the channel and the email there. See you again soon. Raven Scry signing off.